My name is David Austin. This is my wife Kathy. We're from Western North Carolina and we have hull 634. And we picked up in June of 2020, and this is where our story begins. Okay, so Kathy and I, upon retirement, planning our retirement, we decided that we wanted to see as much of the United States as we could, and we started looking at campers, and we ended up purchasing, to put our toes in the water, we purchased an overland camper, which was quite small, but we wanted to be sure this is something we wanted to do. We realized shortly after purchasing that camper that it was going to be too small for us to travel the United States, as it was more just a bed on wheels with an exterior kitchen and really no inside facilities. And so we decided that we needed something bigger. And long story short, we saw an Oliver. We happened to see an Oliver at the dealership that was servicing our overland camper, and I said to the dealer, what is that? And he said, "You don't know what that is?" And I said, "No." And he said, "That's an Oliver." And
he said, "That's the best camper in the world."
He said, "That's the best fiberglass camper in the world." And I got home after seeing that, and I said to Kathy, I said, "We've got work to do." And so we immediately did a deep dive on the internet and found out that Oliver was in Hohenwald, a short 500 miles from our home. And shortly after that, we decided we were going to schedule a tour. After we saw an Oliver by a friend of ours, he showed us his Oliver, and that's where it began. You want to add anything to that?
The tour is an absolute must. It was amazing, and it showed us the quality of the camper, and it really allowed us to take a look into the guts of how the camper was made, because that was really important to us, especially after we'd gone through the little overland camper. And we loved it. We loved dealing with the staff. We had a fabulous tour, and that really put a lot of great technical information in our minds about how to make our decision.
And our salesperson was Anita Johnston, and she made it very seamless for us. She was great. She took us on the factory tour. I remember it was a cold day, but we did well in the factory, and the factory just literally just blew our minds as far as where the Olivers are born and assembled, and all the hands-on that goes into an Oliver. And we absolutely knew at that point, with the quality of workmanship that we saw nowhere else, was top-notch, and we knew that we wanted an Oliver. From that point forward, we worked with Anita. She was outstanding as far as helping us make decisions and guiding us through the process of selection of different packages we wanted on our Oliver. And it was just a short time after that we gave her our deposit, after we solidified the options that we wanted. And it was just a waiting period after that, and we were really anxious and excited about that delivery day, and we knew it was coming soon.
And one other thing I would add is, before we made the final decision with Anita and committed to the Oliver, we discovered that there was a massive RV show being held in Charlotte, and so we went to the RV show and went through every RV that is probably manufactured in the U.S. And then again, when we came home and talked about what we had seen in every camper that we had stepped into, we realized that the Oliver really was at the absolute top of the list.
Top of the list, and we wanted a camper that was over-engineered, extremely well designed, durable. We wanted all fiberglass. That's so important to us because we're lucky enough to have to be able to park our camper at home and in a garage, a steel garage, and we wanted to make sure that that there were no possible ways of having any type of insect infestation, wood infestation, anything chewing into the bottom of the camper. And it just absolutely exceeded our expectations of what we saw. And we are absolutely convinced that this is what we had to have. So when we initially brought our Oliver home, we were really excited, and we had done a lot of reading, and I want to touch on that as well. The information in Oliver University. We watched Jason Essery's videos, and so we were doing everything we could to get the knowledge to go out and camp successfully.
And I read all the
And
manuals.
Kathy read all the manuals, and she, yeah, absolutely did a wonderful job with that. And between the two of us, we were able to operate all the systems. And we started taking little short trips out from our home in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and we camped at various areas. And then, as we became more familiar and comfortable with the systems on the Oliver and towing the Oliver, which absolutely tows like a dream, it literally feels like it's on a rail behind our tow vehicle. We were really excited, and we thought, wow, we could go further and stay longer. And so we did that. We ended up planning trips to Gulf Shores, Alabama, and we went to Gulf Shores. We were there for a week. We were having such a great time, and the Oliver was just perfect the whole time we were there. We came home, we reloaded, and we went to Maine. And the trip to Maine was just so memorable. We so enjoyed it, and the Oliver just did amazing. I mean, it did everything we expected it to be. And I'll coin this phrase from Rodney Lomax. He said, "It's everything you need and nothing you don't," and that is absolutely accurate. It's everything you need and nothing you don't. And we've had so many people in our travels come up to us and say, "Wow, what is that? Where do I buy one?" I mean, truckers run up to us at fueling stations, and ladies get out of their minivans and run up and say, "Oh man, what is that?" So we do a mini showing while we're refueling, and people are like, "Oh, I'm going to go online. You can read all about it. You can contact Oliver." And so it's just exciting every time we travel because people want to see and hear about the Oliver. And of course, as Oliver grows and more campers are available for people, but I explained to him that this is just not a camper that's sold retail. It's sold at the factory, and you place your order at the factory, and there's a small waiting period. But it's awesome, and I really encourage people to take the factory tour.
And I think one of the things that when we said we wanted to camp and this is the camper we wanted to have, we were saying we want to be able to go anywhere in the country, in the United States, and we wanted to be able to also go to Canada if we decided to go. And so we knew it had to be
That's
able
right.
to take all the conditions. And so the very first trip we took, once we felt like we kind of had it all together, we took our first week-long trip and we went into the mountains of Blue Ridge, and it was absolutely amazing. It was only just like 3 hours from our home, but it was such an awesome trip because we pretty much stayed there and worked with all the systems for the entire week and really became comfortable in between laughing at all the people that ran up to us and said, "What is that?"
So,
It,
so I can safely say that Kathy is not only an outstanding navigator because she navigates for us as far as our travels, but she's a great systems engineer as well. She's picked it up. There's a very small learning curve, at least it was for us, and I would say within a month we were well on our way to knowing how the Oliver operates, and so that's important for anybody that's new to Oliver, or if it's their first RV, that don't be overwhelmed. And there's so much help on the forum, there's help on the Facebook Oliver page. And of course, we emphasize to everybody that when you first get your Oliver, hit the books. Oliver University, Oliver goes to great lengths to provide videos to show you how to operate the different systems and how to do the winterization mode and how to do your own maintenance. These are critical areas that are important that you should know as an owner. And you have to realize when you're going down the road that you're pulling a travel trailer, the best in the world, in our opinion, based on our experience in the last 3 years, the best in the world, the toughest travel trailer in the world. And I say that because there are only 1,400, I think, at this time in the entire world. And we were excited about in June of 2020 having hull number 634. We thought for a moment, wow, the aha moment was, this is the 634th Oliver travel trailer in the world. That's amazing when you really think about it. So, we just, like I said, we really enjoy it, and it's been so good to us. And only Oliver will touch our travel trailer. I think there's a really important point to be made that after the sale, that to develop a relationship with service, do your due diligence, look things up if you're having an issue, ask other owners, and if you can't come up with a solution, call service. And our experience with service has been stellar, nothing less than stellar. Anytime we've called, anytime we've had an issue, the work ticket system works fantastic. You submit a work ticket. If they don't, in our experience, we've had a response in that day or a day later. You can't ask for more than that. We know that there's no other RV industry that's going to provide the level of service that Oliver does. And that's really, really important to us as end users, as owners. As owners 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we know that we're going to get that quality of service.
And we've also heard that from people out on the road, that they tell us that they have to wait for months and months and months to even get any sort of a response from their manufacturer, if that's who they're going to. So we feel very grateful to have the level of attention that we get from service. And even if we called and said we've got an emergency, they are as attentive as they absolutely could possibly be in an emergency situation.
And we're very aware that all problems cannot be solved over the phone. Hence, that's why we really encourage folks to hit the books. Sometimes it's a flip of a switch, and it's nothing that there's nothing wrong with the trailer. You just didn't, operate the switch right or set a valve right. So the more you know, the better it gets. The more you learn from reading and watching the videos. And I don't think there's any other travel trailer company in the world that provides the videos, the maintenance videos, and that's really important to us. So when we're out on the road, Kathy and I both enjoy hiking. We also cycle. We're cyclists, and so it depends on where we're going as to what bicycles we'll carry with us. But the Oliver will accommodate according to the weight limits on the rear. You have to pay attention to that. But the Oliver will accommodate 2 bicycles, staying strictly within those weight limits. But hiking and biking, we're foodies. We like to go to, try different foods at different restaurants in the different local towns.
And David is also a great culinary student. And so we've had fabulous meals on the road.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I do like to cook, and I have had culinary training. And so that's a big joy. And my biggest joy is seeing people enjoy great food. So I like to fish. I'm a trout fisherman with a lightweight tackle in the mountains. I love trout fishing, and yes, I enjoy the trout. So.
And we discovered in the last year we'd never taken like a true trip to the beach, like right camping at the beach, and we did that in South Carolina, and that was absolutely amazing. We'll be going back.
Yeah, we'll be going back. Huntington Beach State Park, I'll put a plug in for them. It will be forever our go-to area as far as beach. We parked down one berm from the ocean, and what an experience to be sleeping in your Oliver and hear the ocean waves crashing as you're drifting off to sleep. I mean, that's just one of the memories we have. And it's not uncommon to have people at the campground that have never seen an Oliver just come up and say, "Hey, can I talk to you about your Oliver?" And we're always open to talking to them about the Oliver and share our experiences with them as well. So, the big question is, where do I get one? Where do I buy one? And we're always happy to say, you go to the factory in Hohenwald. That's where the mothership is. That's what we call it. And I said, you will be more than well accommodated by sales staff there, and it's a great experience overall.